Up next for the IC title, we've got Sami Zayn taking on Chad Gable. Chad Gable earlier today confirmed to Gorilla Position that he had signed a new deal with the WWE. He says, quote, I've resigned. I've re-signed. Very important distinction here. Triple H took over and my trajectory changed. He's delivered on everything he told me. He said he was trying to find consistent places on TV for everybody. I'm like, I've heard that before. But then I saw it was true. So putting over Triple H and his booking for him. We have the crowd decibel meter back. And again, another QR code here telling us we've been warned and that the massacre is coming. Crowd cheers wildly for Sami Zayn with one of their football chants. We get some "We Want Otis" chants as well. Zayn is on the floor and stands next to Otis and Maxine, and this crowd simply at Zayn standing next to Otis and Maxine, they're going wild for the visual of Otis. I guess almost like standing on the same side as Sami Zayn and therefore against Chad Gable. Gable gains the advantage in the match. He starts working over Zayn's shoulder and arm. The crowd is going wild with their chants all match, and Sammy begins a one-arm comeback here, including a one-arm Michinoku driver for a 2 count. He tries for the blue thunder bomb, but his arm gives out, and it leads to Gable executing his own power bomb and a flying headbutt for a 2 count. There are more back and forth exchanges. They're both fighting over German suplexes, cross faces. This ends with Gable locking in the ankle lock and injuring Sammy's ankle. So now it's his shoulder and his ankle that he's suffering from. Gable then hands the IC title to Maxine, and Maxine teases attacking Sammy behind the ref, but can't bring herself to do it. This leads to Gable yelling at Maxine. As Sammy sets up a haluva kick, Gable gets out of the way. Sammy stops short just before hitting Maxine. This distraction is enough for Gable to hit the Chaos Theory for a 2 count. Gable then continues chastising Maxine on the floor, and this is when Otis decides to step in the way. Huge pop for that. Sammy comes in, hits a tope con hero as Gable shoves Otis in the way to take the move. Gable then executes a moonsault plancha onto them both. Sammy counters a second moonsault attempt with an exploder in the corner, but can't finish the match because of his bad ankle, so he can't hit the haluva kick. And then on the barricade, Gable again locks in the ankle lock. Sammy escapes, but forces Gable to run into Maxine's already injured ankle. At this point, Otis is pissed off about this, and it looks like he's finally about to turn on Gable. The crowd reacts as such, but Otis shows conflict in his face and can't because he needs to fulfill his obligation by attacking Sami Zayn. So he's there stuck, choosing between Gable and Sammy again, and Otis instead decides to not attack either of them and instead take Maxine to the back. So off of all of this distraction, Sami Zayn delivers a haluva kick to Chad Gable to get the victory. A lot happening in this one storyline-wise, but your thoughts on the match, Neil?
Really enjoyed the match. Just for a quick swerve before getting into all of that, there was a lot of football chants here, if anyone was wondering. Sami Zayn's name was being sung to the song Baby Give It Up by Casey and the Sunshine Band. That's another football thing. Na 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 na. Sami Zayn, etc.
Remarkable. These deep polls, these football crowds seem to.
You only have to watch soccer a bit, and you'll find these things. Do Gable is a wanker. That was another one to the song for
what song
the conga. It's just called the conga. I think it was a hit in the UK. Do. Come on and do the conga. You're getting a lot of singing from me in this episode.
Gotcha. No wankers mentioned in the original song.
No wankers in the original song, no. Okay. Come on and do the conga is the lyrics of the original song. You're just a shit, Kurt Angle, to Gable, which is untrue. But anyway, so lots of that. But anyway, sorry, that's a diversion. The match, really good match between two really good wrestlers. I loved this. I'm kind of sorry the feud seems to be over. Sammy did a kind of a, that's it motion to Gable at the end to sort of say that's your lot. That's your no more title challenges. I would have liked this to continue, or even for Gable to have won, as you and John alluded to last night. But it seems as though what they're going to pivot to is more a direction of Otis versus Gable. And it looks like sort of, Otis will be pushed beyond his limits. Mm-hmm. I think having Maxine hurt by Gable should have been enough to do that, but I guess, the idea is he wants to get her to safety, so that was the priority. So those are my thoughts on where the story goes. But I really enjoyed this match. I think it and the opener together were probably my favorite of the 5 matches on the card.
Yeah,
from a wrestling standpoint.
I thought it was a really well executed storytelling match. You know, I thought, first of all, Zayn's shoulder and ankle injuries were both really well conveyed, and I think it helped make the majority of this match pretty compelling. Gable's technical work on those body parts were really strong. The section of them essentially kind of playing speed chess with each other, jockeying for position for those suplexes and submissions, I thought it was also really well done. But as good as like we know their technical chemistry is, like this match was going to always be largely built and remembered for all the Otis drama in between. And I think all of that was really well done. You know, this crowd is begging for Otis to turn, and they have made the decision to continue delaying it for a bigger result. And at this point, judging by like how I'm feeling about this feud so far, I think it's the right move. I think there's still a lot of time, life left in the tease. Now, the big question is whether or not it was the right move to not crown Chad Gable with the IC championship. Let's remember those failed attempts at beating Gunther for it. He fails yet again to beat Sami Zayn for it. Does this harm Chad Gable in a significant way? And I personally don't really think so. For one thing, I think there are bigger money matches to be made for Sami Zayn defending the championship in this run, especially with Toronto coming up. I also think Gable defending the IC title against Otis, like that would have been a big program, but I also don't know if I see Otis as like an IC title level singles competitor yet. That match is, you know, Otis has to win this feud in the end.
Yeah.
And if they had the title, then it would have to result in Otis winning the championship. And I just don't know if they have those sort of plans for Otis just yet, even though he's developing really well. I also think Sami at this point moves on from the program, and Otis and Gable can still continue their storytelling without the championship. So I think ultimately they're looking to get everybody over. Sami kind of, you know, might be the guy to handle the championship a bit better than either of these two, but these two still have each other with a lot of airtime, I'm sure, you know, that they can fill.
Yeah, and I think there is more to be squeezed out of this. You know, the people at this point are absolutely desperate for Otis to snap. And yeah, let's prolong it a little bit longer so that the crowd go absolutely crazy whenever he does. And just to your point, I don't think the loss hurts Chad, because the villainy is really kind of the point of his character at the minute. You know, it's just how awful he is to these other two. So, you know, play off that, beat him, and then we can start to rebuild something else for Chad Gable in the long run.